We have some major news right now. Congress is warming up to the idea of impeaching and removing Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. There is an increased push right now on Capitol Hill to remove the Department of Homeland Security Secretary following the horrific shooting of Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis, but also following reports that show a department that is completely falling apart. Right now, ICE agents are being told to focus on capturing content for social media, for official Trump administration social media channels, rather than actually doing their jobs. And that's why you saw the phone video from the ICE agent, Jonathan Ross, who shot and killed Renee Nicole Good. That's why we saw his phone video, because he was recording for content for social media. And well, folks on Capitol Hill, they're furious. And it's not just Democrats, it's Republicans too. And it's happening fast. Before I get into it, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to spread the word. And if you want to support my work, subscribe to my Substack by clicking the link below. Let's just jump right into it. Right now, according to Axios, ever since Donald Trump returned to office last January, the hint of impeachment would be enough to bring Democrats to a frenzied rage. Now, that sentiment is thawing, and impeachment is going mainstream. Congresswoman Delia Ramirez says, quote, "The world has changed. A white woman, a mother of three, was shot in the face and killed. You're going to hear more and more people calling for Noem's impeachment." And she says, quote, "has heard directly from a number of swing district members who are saying, we've got to do something. She's got to go." Jamie Raskin says there is a rising clamor for oversight and potentially impeachment of Secretary Noem after the nightmare in Minneapolis. Brad Schneider, the chairman of the New Democrat Coalition, he's literally the center of the center, says, quote, "Secretary Noem must resign or be removed from office. If President Trump refuses to act, I am prepared to support congressional action up to and including impeachment to ensure accountability." Other Democrats have come out in favor of impeachment, including Betty McCollum, Sean Casten, Sarah McBride, and Johanna Hayes. Hayes is actually in a swing district. That is very serious. That is very serious. Even Chris Pappas, who's running for Senate in New Hampshire, says she shouldn't be in the position in the first place. And he's going to be talking to his colleagues about the appropriate next steps they should be taking. Impeachment is firmly on the table, and it's not just Democrats. Republican Tom Tillis has, as I've previously reported, put a blanket ban, essentially, on any Department of Homeland Security nomination, any ICE nomination, any CBP nomination, indefinitely in the Senate, because Kristi Noem hasn't appeared in front of the Senate committee despite requests for weeks, for months. People have wanted her to appear. She doesn't appear. At the same time, Pablo Manriquez from the Migrant Insider is saying that Senate Republicans are warming up to the idea of getting Noem out. And it's not surprising, because Kristi Noem was supposed to be the first one out. She's survived this long in the Trump administration. We'll see how it continues. Now, DHS dismissed the effort to impeach Noem, saying, quote, "How silly during a serious time as ICE officers are facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them. Representative Robin Kelly is more focused on showmanship and fundraising checks than actually cleaning up her crime-ridden Chicago district." But it's not just the impeachment effort that's concerning a lot of folks. It's also the fact that we're learning from a new Washington Post investigation that ICE is being instructed to focus on filming content for social media. I mean, folks, this is crazy. That's why you see ICE officers having a gun in one hand and their phone in another hand. They're focused on filming rather than doing their job. Take a look at this. The messages obtained by ICE, or obtained by the Washington Post, show how the team has worked closely with the White House, which has urged them to produce videos for social media of immigrant arrests and confrontations to portray its push for mass deportation as critical to protecting the American way of life. Before officials could post a video from Houston, they had to figure out how to frame it. Officials didn't know if all the arrestees had criminal records, they wrote in chats, undermining a slogan the team had worked to promote on social media, that ICE had targeted the worst of the worst. Instead of arguing they'd snared hardened criminals, officials wrote a caption saying the arrests, quote, "show the dangers of illegal aliens behind the wheel." And they wanted to maximize the chances of going viral. They needed a soundtrack. So they thought of some country songs because it is Houston after all. For years, ICE had run like a routine government communications dispensing public service announcements, news releases that few Americans would see. But during Trump's second term, ICE's public affairs arm has rapidly transformed into an influencer-style media machine, churning out flashy videos of tactical operations and immigration raids. And internal communications reviewed by the Washington Post show how ICE is actively coordinating with the White House, working to satisfy Trump administration demands to, quote, flood the airwaves with brash content showing immigrants being chased, grabbed, and detained. They also show federal officials mocking immigrants in crass terms and discussing video edits that might legitimize the administration's aggressive stance towards immigration. The team also knowingly used copyright-protected music without permission from the rights holder, among other techniques designed to boost online attention. ICE's public affairs team included dozens of public affairs officers, producers, strategists between Washington and other local field offices across the country. Emily Covington, ICE's assistant director for public affairs, frequently requested, quote, good arrest videos and asked them to devote its energy to capturing, quote, high-profile arrests, the internal messages show. Laszlo Bakse, a deputy assistant director, asked the public affairs team to flag stories where, quote, aliens with criminal history are being employed to counter media reports that the agency was grabbing ordinary aliens just trying to earn a living. Let's continue. The team began working like a professional influencer operation, creating a social media checklist of caught on-camera arrests, sharing metrics with senior officials, using paid social media tracking tools to catalog their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn threads, and Twitter posts, ranked by impressions and engagement rate. Covington pushed the team in internal chats to be, quote, more proactive in pushing out videos. She said, what PR tactics can we deploy that we don't typically? Should we feed info to an influencer, using judgment to ID something likely to go viral or bubble up and gain attention? Right now, we are learning from the media. Let's feed the beast first with the good work ICE is doing each and every day. Folks, this is real. These are real text messages from the Department of Homeland Security. Internally, they are actively figuring out ways to try to have their ICE agents film first and arrest later. That is actively what they're doing. And that should terrify everyone. Everyone. Because just take a minute and imagine what happens in a situation where an ICE officer is trying to get the best video to go the most viral and ends up shooting an innocent 37-year-old woman, Renee Nicole Good. Because that's what happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'll continue to provide you more updates as we get more information. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. More updates soon.